Give it a... And we are live with episode 130 of the Start, Build, Grow Show. Randy Brothers, my friend. Happy Wednesday. How we doing? What's up?
Back at it, man. Alive and well, COVID-free, ready to rock. Man, that intro is awesome, man. So for those of you driving, listen to the podcast, you download the podcast, and you haven't actually checked out our YouTube channel or the Facebook channel to actually watch these podcasts live, it's a whole different experience. I'm not much to look at. Nick's the pretty boy, but there's another experience. You get to check us out live. You can watch the videos. So if you are a podcaster, you listened and downloaded the podcast, make sure to check out our YouTube channel at the Roofing Academy, as well as our Facebook page at the Start Build Grow Show. And as always, podcast or not, like it, subscribe, and tune in next time. We do very much appreciate our subscribers and our listeners and our people watching the live show on Facebook.
And Randy, we somehow got another fantastic guest. So if you guys have not noticed a trend here, we're trying to bring in more roofing companies, people who actually own roofing companies, people who are in the actual shoes of our viewers and listeners, to see if they can give away some of the secrets that they got that have helped them be successful, share some of their stories and background to kind of hopefully relate with you guys. So Randy, per usual, do you want to bring in our guest?
Absolutely. Again, I've been blessed to experience business entrepreneurship and work with entrepreneurs and roofing contractors all over the country of all different backgrounds. And it's a lot of fun. And every once in a while you kind of connect with somebody where just the dialogue and the connection, and you guys just learn and grow and have just an awesome time every time we connect and every time we talk. And my man Sock is just one of the chillest dudes I know, man. He's just a super chill guy, just runs a cool business. And it's really cool to bring you on. And I thought it'd be kind of a fun story to bring my man Sock Woodruff on to kind of share his story as a roofer. We bring a lot of vendors and guests and these sort of things, but I really, the core of this show is all about, sharing the entrepreneurial journey. And that's what we're trying to do, is kind of get back to those roots of sharing the entrepreneurial journey of roofing contractors. So welcome in, Sock, man. We appreciate you joining us.
Right on, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely, my friend. So, Sock, we like to start out the show with a little bit of a background and kind of your story of how you got into the roofing space. So what's your background, my friend?
It didn't start with roofing, that's for sure. It's a process. I've been at it for a long time. I guess more than anything, I guess I'm kind of like the prodigy, right? I was born into it. I think some guys are born, born into royalty, right? I'm not Lord Woodruff of Nottingham. I'm, Sock Woodruff of was gutters and turned into gutters, then roofing, then siding. So, my dad was a fireman, and he was also a tin knocker. So on his off-duty days, he was a tin knocker. He was a sheet metal worker, worked for an HVAC company. They did gutters and sheet metal and stuff. And when he got on the fire department, he decided to start his own business. And so he just did it on the side, right? Just a way to make a few extra bucks, like a lot of firemen did back then. And then he enslaved his two sons into the business, cheap labor, right? I think I started off at $2 an hour.
And now you're making what, $6?
Yeah, maybe $6-8 an hour, something like that. With a couple benefits, right? Got a company card and a gas card. So yeah, it was just a small business that he did just to make some extra cash. Mm-hmm. But I saw it as an opportunity. I mean, I did it all through, I think I started climbing roofs. I think I was allowed on the roof maybe when I was about 13 or 14. It was cleanup crew before that. And it was just me and him and my brother. but I saw an opportunity, after doing it for a few years through high schools and summers and then through college. Afterwards, I thought this is pretty good. Like, this is a side business for him, but I think there's something here. And so when I got done with school, I just decided to make a full-time go of it. And, the rest is history. Been doing it ever since. So it's been almost 28, 30 years doing it full-time. And I think my dad retired down to Florida in the mid-90s. So I've been at the helm myself for the last, 20 plus years.
Oh, wow. So was it right away custom installations, or what was kind of the transition in terms of like branding and everything with the business?
Yeah, it's funny, right? So it was custom installations when I was a kid. When my dad he didn't decide what his specialty was, right? He was doing a lot of odd jobs and putting in fences and doing all kinds of stuff. So, and then when he got heavy into the gutters, he changed the company name to Custom Gutter, where we were primarily just doing gutter work.
Mm-hmm.
And then the name changed to Custom Gutter and Supply. And he dibbled and dabbled in supplying some products. He was always big on just doing the best of the best. So he was always looking for cool gutter products that no one else had. And so we were getting stuff, whether it was overseas or, in Canada or wherever. He just wanted the best gutter brackets or, the thickest pipe or whatever. And so he started supplying pipe to a lot of the local contractors, just some buddies of his that he knew. And that spurred me to, kind of start up our supply business. So we started up company called Rain Trade, which is now called Gutter Supply, guttersupply.com. And we sell pretty much anything and everything under the sun with gutters. And so we separated that business off. So that's an entirely different organization, different building, group of, employees. And then Custom Gutter turned into Custom Installations. I brought my dad's original name back in the mid 2000s. Where we began to offer all the exterior products that we do today. So roofing, sheet metal, gutters, siding, windows, doors. And that's primarily what we do now.
So I before we dive too much into custom installations, and a main talking point I want to discuss is kind of how to win more roofing jobs with high-end residential homes. But gutter supply is pretty interesting. So how was getting that off the ground, and what do you guys do exactly with gutter supply?
Yeah, so gutter supply, we were just a local source in Chicago area, right? Our market's really interesting here, where we've got a lot of copper gutters and half-round gutters and zinc and lead coated, and it was funny, like you needed to go to a Rolex for your aluminum supplies, or you needed to go to this sheet metal shop for your steel stuff. And so we just said, hey, there needs to be like an all-in-one, everything under the sun gutters. So we've literally searched really the world over. We get product from, tons of different countries, tons of different manufacturers all over the place to provide a whole, huge, vast amount of different products, from architectural sheet metal and conductor heads and finials to, I think we have 6 different metals that we supply our stuff in. We did well in Chicago and decided, I think early on in 2003, to get the e-commerce going. And that's about 70% of our business these days. So most of our product ships out of state. Mm-hmm. And the e-commerce, the digital world's been really good for us. I think it's an easy way to get your name out and your brand out.
Mm-hmm. So what have you taken then with gutter supply? I feel like you probably learned a lot then in terms of search and how to properly utilize Google and search engine. Have you kind of been able to take that into the custom installation side of things, or has that taught you some stuff there in terms of marketing for your business?
Yes, I mean, we're really successful with our SEO over there. I mean, we're fortunate to have a ton of first page really good, valuable keywords, right? Gutter guards, copper gutters, gutter machines. Those are all big wins for us. We're usually somewhere in the top 3 in the search rankings. We do apply that over here. It's been a little bit more difficult. I was a lot slower to the game with custom installations, and I think when you go from a custom gutter website and you're changing the name to custom gutter and supply, and you're getting a new URL, custom installations with a new URL, that kind of put us behind the curve a little bit, right? As far as, because I think longevity is one of the big algorithms that Google has, right? Is how old the site is. So, but we definitely use a lot of the same stuff, right? So a lot of our blogs are going to be educational, how-to stuff, right? Like empower the client, really put out content that you really think that people, they're looking for and they need, right? Do with custom installations.
100%. So I would say, how have you been able to do such like a wide range, I would say, of exterior construction, installations, and repairs? It seems like you've been successful in areas of specialty roofing, gutters, you kind of name it. How have you been able to handle that?
So that's a tough one. I'll be honest, it's not easy to be everything for everybody. I think longevity probably is one of our keys, right? I mean, I've been really fortunate. A lot of the guys that I, hired and wore a tool pouch with are still with us right now. So I think, having the same guys, right? So you can train them and not have to retrain guys over and over again. I think that's part of it, right? But it's patience, right? I mean, I think construction more than anything is probably one of the harder learning curves, right? There's so many products, there's so many applications for each product, where you got to be willing to go through the school of hard knocks, and figure it out. Because not every, just because you got a shingle doesn't mean it goes on the same way on every job, right? You really got to learn. So, you got to be willing to learn from your mistakes, persevere, right? Try to systemize things.
100%. Now, Randy, the next thing I want to dive into is branding. And we're going to talk about how, building the right brand and the perception of value you have to offer your customers is, I think helped custom installation win some higher end residential properties. What do you think about branding, my friend Rands, and trying to winning those higher end properties?
Well, I think branding is really key. It's interesting, for those of you who kind of follow us online, we just released a video of a really awesome, really high end project that we did, and we weren't, a couple years back, like we would have never even done projects like that, and SOC does, custom like copper and some of these high end, really steep scaffold, full redex, 12, like it was a castle. It was a 100-year-old home that we called a castle project, and very meticulous, very difficult, challenging, high end project. And it took years of building our brand and building that reputation and getting those reviews and having that brand and that image and the presence of the videos and the images and the case studies and the referrals, all the stuff that you continue to use to leverage to build that brand up and up and up, give you more and more opportunities to land and execute large scale, custom, really difficult jobs that, if I'm a consumer and I go online and I check a website of 3 roofing contractors that are bidding on my project, and I see this one of them that just stands out to me as like very professional, very well branded, lots of content, lots of similar projects that we've done, it just kind of compounds itself, and you get to more and more of those opportunities. And not to say it's, oh no, I'm a new contractor, I can't do that, but you got to understand, like, the more you invest in that brand and building up every job to try to get another better job and highlight those jobs and feature those jobs and take pictures and videos and really build a brand around that social, brand awareness piece that we're trying to execute on, it really helps, and like,
Mm-hmm.
it takes an investment of time and money, but over the long haul, when you start to get these type of jobs, it really kind of helps solidify you as a legit contender and a big player in any given market.
Yeah, Zach, did you like when you took over with custom installations, or even prior to that, did you guys kind of have an idea that you wanted to go towards higher end homes? Because I mean, when you go on even just from the name custom installations and your website, that's how it feels.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're in a really good market here in Chicago, where we're north of the city on the lake, and really old homes, really cool architecture. It's a lot of fun, right? So I mean, my passion was there. Like, I think it's just really cool to learn about, some of this old historic slate and tile and architectural copper work. So I liked it because it's fascinating, right? I think that there's a niche there, right? I don't think anybody can just go do a lot of that work. Um, I think that those clients also really rely a lot on the referral world, right? I think more than most clients, I think it's really about referrals in those areas. So yeah, we definitely focus a lot of our energy on serving these types of clients.
So tell us about. So you have a metal division. You utilize cedar shake. Do you have kind of any kind of favorite type of roofing that you guys do?
Um, I favorite's interesting, right? I mean, I think slate's the coolest roof. I don't know if I necessarily recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got its pluses and minuses and downside, but it's definitely one of the funnest, and I think it's the most beautiful. I think it's just a gorgeous roof, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of that stuff that we're talking about isn't a huge percentage of our business, though. The slate and the copper, and the tile. We do a fair amount of it, but I think we do it. We enjoy it, but I think it just gives us so much credibility. I think when you've proven that you can work on some of the most difficult of projects, I think then when you're moving over to somebody else who's doing, whatever the everyday product is, whether it's shingles or something else, I think that those clients feel more comfortable, more inclined to feel, like you're the person for the job.
Very true.
So we really leverage that is what we do more than anything.
Do you have any tips then? So if people are looking to try to win these more high end and prestigious jobs, and are trying to get that brand and try to figure out a way to land those jobs, do you have any tips for those people?
Tips for getting into good neighborhoods? Yeah, I mean, we do a lot of different stuff as far as getting into the neighborhoods. I mean, I'm make sure I'm a part of the community, right? So I live in the areas that we work, right? My kids go to school in those areas, so that really helps me have a foot in the door, right? So, and then we participate in all the local home shows that are in these towns, right? We want to be a member of this community, right? We want to be a household name, right? So all of our trucks are, I'd like to think they look really nice and professionally lettered and logoed, and I'd like to think that pretty much, people in the area know who we are at this stage of the game.
What about you, Randy?
I think that you nailed that, and that's something that you can't just spend money and get done. Like, that takes effort. Is being a community member. Like, it's interesting because, like, the whole world of storm chasing, it's like get in, get out when the opportunity is there. But I think the majority of us watching and listening to this, we're not that. We're a local contractor that are trying to build a great business, and that will, I guess, storm chase if we have to, but we don't necessarily want to. It's not our main business model. And the things that we can do right now: Chamber of Commerce, network, connect with groups online. There's a million different local groups. I mean, figure out your neighborhood. Like, my neighborhood is a specific neighborhood in Southeast Aurora, and we're a part of the next door. There's a Facebook group. There's, my wife is involved with, you know, mops groups and stroller strides and just being a part of the local community, as well as having that brand. I coach my son's baseball teams, and I show up in my big branded truck, and it's like people,
Mhm.
everyone there in the local area sees that over and over and over. And it's hard to have a direct ROI, but that has an effect. People see,
Mm-hmm.
people start to realize who you are, and then they go online, or then they need your services, go on Facebook, go online, or happen to get a flyer, or someone knocks on their door or whatever. They're like, oh, I know who you are. They're already more comfortable to do business with you because they've seen. It's about impressions, right? The average consumer is not going to remember a brand until they've seen it, or had it impressed on them 7 different times. So that's what branding is all about, is creating those impressions. If
Mm-hmm.
you have one sign and one truck and they don't even look alike and your website's jacked up, you're not creating the right impression. So you got to hit it from a number of different angles to just be there and be present in that community, in order to build that credibility that you said, in order to then, once that community has a demand or has a need for your services, game on.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so I want to talk about the gutter division, and then after that, we're going to go into a quick break to thank the sponsors, and then after the sponsors, I want to talk about the presentation, the sales experience in those higher end prestigious homes, how you kind of go about that, what that looks like, especially now with everything going on. But what's going on with, so how is the gutter division been? I know this can be a big pain in the butt for some people. Randy, you know how it is for you with the gutters, right? And a lot of the clients. How's the gutter division going, Sock?
Yeah, for us, it's the easiest thing, right? I mean, we've been doing it for so long, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's what we're most familiar with, what we've done the most of. Those are well, my employees that have been installing our gutters have literally been doing it for over 2 decades. Every one of those guys right now. So, I'd love to be able to provide you with the secret sauce. It's just something that we don't even think about anymore, right? I mean, that part of the business just kind of runs itself. And it's funny. We At one point I was like, I don't even want to do gutters anymore. Like the revenues are not that great, and it's just kind of a pain. Right?
Yeah.
But you got to do it these days. If you're going to be a roofing contractor, to not offer gutters, I think, in my eyes, might be a mistake. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that people kind of think of hiring one company to do both. So at this stage of the game, I see it as just it's an added bonus. It's a convenience to not have to pick up the phone, find a subcontractor. Dealing with subs, we all know, can be difficult, right? I mean, you're counting on somebody else's schedule. You don't know who they've got hired that day, right? So I just feel fortunate to have the same guys doing it over and over again, and not have to deal with all the hassles that comes with subcontracting stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a couple ways to look at that. You're in a situation where it's already an established thing you've done for a number of years. You have the labor, because I think where a lot of people are challenged is labor, finding labor.
Yeah.
If you're going to do it in house, finding labor.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can go buy a gutter machine and a truck and all that. That's fine. But finding labor to consistently show up day in and day out and execute and do a high quality job of installs can be very challenging. So you got to kind of weigh the good with the bad. If you want to go that route, understand what you're getting yourself into, of finding labor, training people, and if you haven't been doing that, I would encourage, and I as a testament, you can do a subcontract, find subcontractors, but you need to have a good process in place of vetting and creating those relationships with those subcontractors. And the key there too is, don't have all your eggs in one basket. You should have a number of different people to choose from, and make sure you build relationships with the best, most reliable, the ones that communicate, the ones that show up, and understand that can change overnight. So you got to have a backup plan, and plan A, B, C, and D. So we scale our business up, and we're doing a lot of roofs at one time, and most of those roofs we have to do gutters as well. We can't just rely on one gutter company to handle all that. So throughout the years, we've developed relationships with quality gutter contractors, which really helps that process, and you're not having to always find and weed through those contractors. So whichever way you go about doing it, just understand you kind of got to, there's no easy button. You got to actually put in the work to build that part of your business up.
100%. Well, cool, guys. So we're going to, of course, we're starting with Job Nimbus.
Job Nimbus is a fully customizable back office solution.
Track leads, jobs, tasks from one easy-to-use software.
And with the largest ecosystem of integrated partners, if we don't do it, we have a friend who does.
Learn how the #1 back office system in roofing
can help you be efficient, be organized, be professional, and be profitable.
Now, if you listen to the show and you somehow have not checked out Job Nimbus, go to info.jobnimbus.com/roofing-academy. And now we got our friends at Hail Trace.
If you're in the hail game, if you're working hail claims and selling roofs that have hail damage, you need to know where the hail is, how big the hail is, and when it hailed. I mean, if you're on the fence, it's a game changer.
Check them out at hailtrace.com. And last but not least, Randy, what's going on with Sumo Quote, man? How are you using for Elite?
Sumo Quote is a game changer. We're talking about high-end homes today, and I'm going to pick on Sock in a little bit, but you know, if you want to up your game and up your retail game or your insurance game, you need to have a professional quote, a professional document that stands out above the rest. And if you want to increase your closing ratios, Sumo Quote is the simple answer.
So if you have not tried Sumo Quote yet, make sure you're going to try.sumoquote.com/start, build, grow. Now, did you want to pick on Sock? Is that how we're starting this out?
We've been working, you know, Sock and I have known each other for a while now. I've been working together, and they do a lot of different things, and they've worked really hard to customize their Sumo Quotes to be able to have all these different verticals and different, you know, offerings, and leverage that to use that to sell these slate roofs, these high-end roofs, you know, and that sort of thing. So how is that, you know, how have you been able to leverage, you know, a product or the, you know, I just don't want to sell it all, be just selling it, but I know you've seen some success with your team in implementing and leveraging and using a product or a platform like Sumo Quote.
Sumo Quote's a game changer. I mean, I love it. I think, you know, it's for a lot of reasons. I mean, one of our bigger problems was just turning around budgets and getting bids out in a timely manner, right? And that process is just so slick. Like, you can literally do it, you know, if you want, while you're right on site, or you can get quotes out that night after meeting with the clients. But I think it's also helped us kind of align our sales team, right? How do we as a company want to present our bids to our clients? And I think Sumo Quote, with creating the templates, creating which documents go with which quotes, I think has, you know, I think it all has us all on the same page, right? So everybody's presenting the same way, right? We're talking about the presentations. You can talk about the objections. You know, now that we're all on the same wavelength, I think we're more unified in how we're approaching, you know, pitching it, overcoming objections. So it's been great. I think one of our big selling points has always been educating our clients, right? We're, you know, I don't want to say our sales guys don't sell, because I think that would probably be a disservice to them. They're good sales guys, but you know, I think ultimately, at least what we see with a lot of our clients is, you know, figure out what a client's needs are, listen to them, right? And then figure out how to adapt and educate them to steer them in the right direction to make the best decision for themselves. And I think with Sumo Quote, you're able to do that, right? We put together all these different templates with different marketing documents, and then we have different options, you know, for these different templates, so that we can really customize a quote in a really short amount of time for that particular client and that particular situation. And I think that's been, it's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One thing I wanted to mention too is we were lucky enough to work with you in designing a case study that you put together for kind of your sales experience that your sales guys can utilize. And it was very specific to the certain projects you're going after. Can you kind of talk about the concept of that and how you're utilizing it?
Yeah. So we did a case study on an insurance, that was a roof damaged by insurance. It was a cedar shake roof. And, I don't know what you'd say, Randy, but I think that one of the biggest objections we might have from potential clients is just that it's too good to be true, right? Like, I feel like this is a scam, like, really, I'm going to get a free roof because what happened? I didn't even know there was a storm, kind of thing. So, everybody uses references, right? Here's a name and here's a picture, here's a before and after picture of a job, and those are great. But I think the case study was to legitimize what we're talking about. So it was, the client called us. They said that they had a couple cedar shingles blow off. We went out, inspected, found hail damage. So we documented the dates, and we just went through and showed everybody the entire process. Like, this is what we found. At this stage, we decided it suggested you call in a claim. And then we brought everybody, to teach them about the whole process, right? So when you call in a claim, this is what's going to happen, right? You're going to call me after you get a claim number and you get an adjuster meeting. And so you bring everybody through there. But in our case study, we went through, all the I's and T's dotted and crossed, right? Like, here was the initial claim amount, right? Here was our rebuttal estimate, we came in agreement on this was the total amount, right? So we're trying to tell people how long it's going to take. We're talking about all the steps that are going to happen. And in there, we had a testimonial from the client and some before and after pictures. So, I think we really got to humanize the whole process, give them a good picture of what's going to happen and how things are going to turn out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think so far, the feedback's been really good on that.
I think it was cool. I mean, you included social proof, you had the testimonial. It was very specific to the type of roof that you're going after. So it is very relatable and shows that you can handle and do a good job with the kind of project that they need done. I think it was great. On another side note, and Randy, I want to hear your insight on this one too. Is a big thing that we're hearing is sales guys is difficult, right? And I feel like you want a very professional appearance type salesperson when you're going into these type of sales situations. How are you able to find somebody that fit your company culture, brand, and has been successful for your company?
Well, that's a tough one. I don't have a great answer. Randy and I have talked about this at length. Finding good guys, is tough, right? I mean, we've tried LinkedIn and all kinds of different job monsters and stuff, and I think we've kind of run across guys randomly more than anything, right? Finding other guys in the trades that have experience. I don't think there's been one easy thing that has resulted in like, oh, this is what you got to do to find sales guys. I think you got to be always open, always looking, always recruiting, right? I think that's just the nature of the beast.
Mm-hmm. Randy, what do you think, man?
Let's quote the famous Field of Dreams movie, right?
Oh, I just saw that.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we all need to have recruiting strategies and a way to leverage technology and social media and those sort of things. But people are gonna, if somebody is seeing success at your company, one person, okay, if you have one salesperson and you help provide tools and resources and a culture and a business that helps that one person succeed beyond their wildest dreams, beyond anything they've ever imagined. I mean, they're going to tell their friends. they're gonna have a different demeanor about them. Their lifestyle is gonna change. They're gonna buy houses. They're gonna buy trucks. Things are gonna change around them, and people are gonna wonder what's going on. What is this person doing?
Yeah.
And what's causing all this change? What's that brand new truck in the driveway? What's that new house you just bought? Like, people, if you can, as an owner, we have the ability to provide tools, resources to literally change people's lives, but we don't respect that enough. We think that we can grow our business by becoming a recruiting machine that just takes any 18-year-old kid that's willing to go knock on a door and throw them out there and hope that they somehow get us enough leads, or somebody enough leads, or enough opportunities to grow our business. Next, what we don't realize is we go through 20, 30, 40 people to get a couple of good people that stick around with the business long enough to figure out that they can do it on their own. This is the cycle that a lot of us get ourselves into. Whereas, the power of one, if you can provide a very successful situation for a small amount of people, organically, other people are going to be in tune with what's going on, and they're going to wonder, how do I become a part of that? The growth and the success of our company and our sales team. We have a large sales team. We did not build a 15-person sales team because of a magical scripted recruiting concept.
Yeah.
We did it because we had 3 people that were really successful, and then another person became successful, and then another person became successful, and then the other people saw that, and it actually, I hate to even didn't want to take the wind out of someone's sales, but it happened organically. You just mentioned this. Some of our best salespeople came from the most random, organic relationships and situations. People that I went to college with, people that I've known from high school, have come around and come now are high producing salespeople. Someone that came in just to do a part-time job to help in the office because we were busy and needed help is now my sales manager. We didn't know, like, he didn't come to us from some gimmicky recruitment ad. He came to us because we had a good reputation as a company that hires good people, and we had a good culture. And he's like, hey, he was a client of ours that a salesperson sold a roof to him a number of years back, and they stayed in touch because he did such a good job selling that they became friends. And then 3 years later, they just happened to cross paths and talk. Hey, man, I think my company's looking for an opportunity, or looking for somebody to help in the office and help, coordinate jobs or whatever. And he came in and did that for a few weeks, and he brought me aside. He's like, hey, man, I think I could probably do sales pretty good. Can you give me an opportunity? And I'm like, yep, let's put you through sales training and see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
$4 million later, he's still selling roofs, and he's leading a team of people. So again, the takeaway there is, if you build it, they will come. Take really good care of the people you have, build a great culture, build great systems, make your company a desirable company to work for. And trust me, people will come to you.
Well said, Randy. Well said, Randy. Well, okay, so this is, as we're starting to bring this thing to close, we always end it, Sock, with a golden nugget, something that you want to leave the viewers out there with. It could be a tip, it could be advice, it could be a mistake you learn from, whatever it might be. But don't worry, we always start with Randy. So we put him in the spotlight first, so you get a little second to think about what you want to say to close her out. But Rands, man, after that Randy rant that we just got there, that was solid. I'm gonna put you right back on the spot. What
Right
we got?
back on it. How do
Let's go.
How do I not carry on that same theme?
Yeah.
And maybe the avoidance of mistakes is, don't hire somebody just because they're a pulse and they're it's a warm body, and you need a position filled. Okay. Do your due diligence, hire the right people and put them in the right seats. Hire slow, fire fast. Like, take your time to find the right people and find people that fit your culture, instead of just hiring a warm body and moving on past it. So that's the takeaway here is if you really take extra time to hire the right person, you're going to save a ton of time on the back end, in growing your business, because you put the right people in the right seats.
Yeah, good call.
Mr. Sock Woodruff, what do we got for us?
Golden nugget, you're putting me on the spot.
Yes, sir.
You know, a lot of lessons I've learned, still learning, right? I think as I've grown the business, right? Because when it was 3 people and now we're, I don't know how many people, a lot more people, right? You got to learn to delegate. I think the big lesson for me was just, and still is, empowering people, right? I think, setting them up to make the right decisions as opposed to constantly making decisions for people and dictating what they need to be doing. I think there's a real art in doing that and managing. I don't know if that's the nugget you're looking for, but it's definitely,
it works for me. It works for me. It's a learning lesson that you have that you want to share with everybody else. I mean, delegation, Rance, how much have we touched on that? How difficult that can be for some people.
It's very hard. And we talk a lot about leadership through empowerment. So you nailed it there, Sock, is, how do you know if somebody's going to reach their full potential if you don't empower them to make some decisions and to kind of push their limits as far as their own capacity as a human and as a leader. That's how you develop other leaders. You empower them.
Yep.
Well, guys, thank you very much for joining us on episode 130 of the Start Build Grow Show. Next week, we'll be doing a Christmas special the day before Christmas Eve. So next Wednesday, we'll be back at the same time, 4 o'clock. But guys, thank you for joining us, episode 130 of the Start Build Grow Show. Sock, thanks for sharing your story and some advice for the roofers out there.
Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me.